What happens when the illusion that Las Vegas once sold like hotcakes, the illusion that anyone can live large in just one weekend, begins to crumble? This city has never been just about gambling or dazzling shows. It sells hope. It makes people believe that, even if only for a moment, they can escape reality and touch the American dream. But today, that illusion has become more expensive than ever. The hotels that once welcomed the middle class now charge as if they were for millionaires. The free drinks disappeared, service fees skyrocketed, and even luck seemed to have been priced. Perhaps Las Vegas is now just a reflection of America, where illusions were once built with lights and are now fading along with the faith of those who lit them. In today's video, join us as we explore how the illusion of the city that never sleeps is slowly fading, and why the downfall of Las Vegas could be a reflection of the future of the entire United States. You might not be going to Vegas anymore, but the aftershocks from Sin City could be slowly spreading to where you live. You just haven't realized it yet. Are you ready to explore? Let's start right now. Las Vegas tourism is sinking, and younger Americans could be to blame. That was the headline that appeared in the New York Post when explaining the reasons for Las Vegas's decline. No longer a story of inflation or international visa barriers, the media is gradually turning its attention towards young people, claiming that their spending habits are what's destabilizing Vegas's tourism and entertainment-dependent economy. However, reality paints a different picture. According to a survey by News 3 Las Vegas, as many as 94% of respondents admitted that Las Vegas has become too expensive to visit. So, what's really going on? What's the real reason Las Vegas is so empty? Let's look at the numbers directly. According to the LVCVA report, in June alone, the number of tourists decreased by over 12%, meaning nearly 500,000 people disappeared compared to the same period last year. Hotel occupancy rates declined accordingly, and with an economy almost entirely dependent on every dollar spent by tourists, the impact immediately spread throughout the city. People working in hotels, restaurants, and casinos share that they are no longer earning the income they expected, simply because there are too few customers. Especially for employees who rely on tips, many admit that their income this year is significantly lower, even though they have to work longer hours and more shifts.
I've been doing experiments throughout the month, so I've been doing during the days and during the night. I've been going full throttle. I put more hours and make less.
The city is reeling. Some small businesses have had to close, and thousands of workers are living in prolonged uncertainty. However, instead of asking, why aren't tourists coming anymore? Is it the cost itself that makes Vegas such an expensive destination? Newspaper headlines chose a faster route, blaming the younger generation. It's said that Gen Z is easily influenced, that they prefer experiences over winning big at the negotiating table. But perhaps in that attribution, the media forgot, or deliberately overlooked, that the real reason is that no one is left who can afford the extravagance of this city anymore. Most young people today struggle to afford an apartment, find it difficult to pay for healthcare, and are lucky to get a stable job after graduation. When even basic needs are a burden, spending hundreds of dollars to enjoy a weekend in Vegas is out of reach. Why isn't responsibility shared equally, but rather concentrated on one generation? The answer is simple. Blaming young people will help hide the fact that the root causes are escalating costs, mounting corporate debt, and a strategy of maximizing profits at all costs. Thus, the city and corporations can still maintain the facade that everything is inherently fine. It's just that the consumer generation has changed. That's the perfect excuse. A neat media trick, turning an entire structural crisis into a blame game for Gen Z. Meanwhile, prices in Vegas have soared to unreasonable levels. A bottle of water is sold for $26, parking is $40 per hour, and the resort fee is up to $55. Don't even talk about young people. Even wealthy people don't want to spend $20 just for a cup of coffee. It seems much easier to label the younger generation as unwilling to spend money than to admit that the city is becoming an expensive destination where fees upon fees are frustrating visitors and driving them to seek alternative options. As a result, Vegas remains expensive. Casinos continue to report hundreds of millions in revenue each month, while a wave of budget travelers, the city's true soul, are abandoning the Strip. If a city once built to belong to everyone now only serves a few, will it still retain its soul? And if the media only tells half the story, who will speak up about the rest? The darkness that's slowly consuming Las Vegas. Because Vegas clearly can't survive solely on big spenders. This machine runs every day thanks to the workers in the shadows, hotel staff, waiters, taxi drivers, and tip workers who rely on every small tip to feed their families. When customers leave, corporations may still win in the short term, but it is those very people who bear the most obvious pain. And that's the story we're about to delve into. Who really paid the price for the short-term ambitions that turned Las Vegas into a cash machine for a minority?
A year ago, I was making anywhere from 150 to 200 a day. Now I'm making anywhere from 50 to 60 a day.
Josefina Heretado, a woman with many years of experience in the Vegas tourism industry, is considered one of the lucky cases. Fortunately, even though her income had bottomed out, at least she still had a job to hold on to. Because now, many workers are not only having their incomes cut, but have also lost their only job that could support their entire family. For tourists, the emptiness of Vegas might just be an option. They can come back or decide to leave. But for the workers here, they have almost no other choice. They were forced to stay put, because behind them were meals, bills, and children waiting. The shock came quickly and intensely. In just one night, over 4,300 workers were pushed into unemployment. This means thousands of families have to recalculate every expense, every meal. And it doesn't stop there. The Poker Palace, a casino with a history spanning over 50 years, is preparing to close its doors, be sold, and shut down by the end of autumn. Direct consequences. Over 120 employees, from blackjack and poker dealers to cashiers, lost their livelihoods, carrying with them concerns about their families' daily meals. Additionally, hundreds of other jobs quietly disappeared at other casinos and hotels throughout Vegas. According to 8 News Now, as many as 72,000 people in Nevada are currently unemployed, with the heaviest impact concentrated in Las Vegas, once hailed as the tourism heart of the state. Clearly, when the profit motive outweighs the spirit of hospitality, the losers are not quarterly revenue, but the people themselves. A resident of Vegas for over 40 years, who worked in the casino industry for over 3 decades, put it bluntly. As a 40-plus year resident of Vegas and someone who worked in the casino industry for over 30 years, I can sum it up in 2 words: corporate greed. I've watched Vegas go from the mob run days when everyone was treated better, guests and employees alike, to the cancer that is corporate America. Vegas has weathered many difficult times and will survive this one too if corporations realize they can't squeeze every penny out of customers, or they'll wake up one day and find they have no customers left. Vegas still has a chance to find its soul again, a city that welcomes everyone, rather than just seeing them as walking wallets. Can a city call itself the entertainment capital if the smiles served here aren't enough to support the workers? How much more of our human experience will we sacrifice just to gain a few more percentage points of profit in the quarterly report? And this isn't just the story of Vegas. What will happen if this formula, the one that puts profits above people, starts to spread to other tourist cities in the United States? Let's find out in the next part. What happens when the heart of the entertainment industry runs out of steam? When a city once built to attract visitors from around the world suddenly stagnates, other resort clones across the United States also begin to show signs of sputtering. Las Vegas is not just a destination. It's also a reference model for countless other tourist cities. And when that model cracks, the ripple effect cannot be contained solely within the Nevada desert. The spreading signals are becoming increasingly clear. While corporations operating the Strip continue to push profit margins higher by increasing revenue per customer, a segment of tourists is turning to options outside the central area. Casinos in the outer areas, such as Red Rock, reported net revenue exceeding $500 million, up nearly 10% from the previous year. This shift reveals a worrying reality. The core model that was once the pride of Vegas is beginning to lose its appeal right in its own backyard. At the same time, the revenue of icons beloved by the Strip is declining. Caesars reported a decrease of nearly 3.7% compared to the same period last year. What seems like a small number when it affects an entire chain of restaurants, shops, and retail businesses that rely on customer traffic becomes a domino effect. Behind the still bright neon lights, the service economy at the heart of the Strip is gradually revealing cracks. The problem isn't just in Vegas. When a business model based on layering fees, optimizing every penny of profit, and cutting user experience is adopted as a formula for success, other cities can easily replicate it without seeing the risks. Emerging tourist destinations, from Florida beaches and Arizona resorts to conference cities like Orlando and Dallas, are all at risk of entering a similar cycle, becoming more expensive but less welcoming. And once a customer's trust is broken, it's not easy to win them back. In the grand scheme of things, another factor is intensifying this trend: digital gambling and entertainment. When smartphones allow people to bet on sports or play cards right from their couch, the motivation to fly into play is significantly reduced. A portion of the demand that once sustained entertainment cities has been drawn into the digital space, leaving a void in expensive resorts that expected visitors to spend directly. According to data from the US Travel Association, spending by international visitors to the US has decreased by over 20% in the past 3 years, with cities that rely on leisure tourism being the hardest hit. For destinations that once relied on international visitors and major events, cost sensitivity and safety concerns are putting them in a precarious position. A peak season can temporarily salvage the numbers, but it cannot hide the long-term decline in confidence. If Vegas can serve as a warning, what solutions can help other cities avoid falling into the same trap? The answer doesn't lie in increasing fees or racing to build flashy structures, but in restoring the core value: people. A major global hospitality brand like Marriott once stated that the future of the tourism industry depends on recentering on personal experiences and sustainability, rather than simply maximizing short-term profits. This lesson isn't just for Vegas, but for any city that wants to survive long-term as a destination. Are many cities repeating Vegas's mistake, sacrificing experience for profit margins? And will a beautiful peak season be enough to hide the long-term trend of shrinking trust? There are cities that don't just exist for themselves, but also become links in a vast economic chain. When that link loosens, the whole chain shakes. Las Vegas is such a case. For decades, Vegas has been seen as America's spending engine. In 2024 alone, according to a report by the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, LVCVA, tourists directly spent over $55 billion in the city. When including indirect impacts, that is, the money businesses serving customers pay to employees, which is then spent back into the community, the total economic impact of Vegas tourism is approximately $88 billion. A huge number, enough to show that when this locomotive slows down, many cars behind it also jerk. The signs are clear. The decline in tourists means a decrease in hotel room capacity and a drop in average room prices. And when the air defense system was full, the domino effect began. Revenue from restaurants, bars, retail shops, and transportation services all cooled down. This puts tens of thousands of jobs in the hotel and entertainment sectors at risk. Local budgets are also not immune to this cycle. Revenue from gaming activities may still maintain a slight increase, but as revenue from accommodation, dining, and other entertainment services declines, the tax structure becomes unbalanced. The city cannot rely on a single bright spot to hide the spreading red patches. The clustering of businesses is creating a ripple effect. Hotels are cutting staff, restaurants are reducing service hours, and workers are losing a portion of their income. As household spending contracts, weak demand gradually spreads to other sectors of Nevada and then affects states with similar tourism structures. A weak consumer spiral is gradually forming. On another level, international tourists, a significant source of demand, are also turning away. Aviation data shows that in June alone, Air Canada's passenger traffic to Las Vegas decreased by as much as 33% compared to the same period last year, while Aeromexico recorded a 22% drop. Behind those numbers lies the exhaustion of flight routes, airport services, hotels, and even the logistics systems serving tourists. The concern doesn't stop at just the cost or ticket price. For many international travelers, the decision to come to the US is also influenced by difficult-to-measure factors: complex entry procedures, perceptions of safety, climate change, and even the perceived goodwill of the government. These invisible barriers, combined with rising costs, are transforming the image of America as a dream destination into a less appealing option on the global tourism map. What's even more dangerous is the impact on trust. When an iconic destination like Las Vegas loses its appeal, it not only reduces the city's own revenue, but also amplifies the sense of unease about the health of American consumerism. With an economy heavily reliant on household spending, this decline in confidence could lead to unforeseen and widespread consequences. Are we building public budgets on a turbulent runway of tourism? And as an iconic destination loses its appeal, will consumer confidence decline faster than the numbers on the report? When an illusion shatters, what remains is not shards of glass, but the long-hidden truth. Today's Vegas, under the bright LED lights and giant billboards, is reflecting a larger picture: soaring prices, stagnant wages, and a growing sense of being left behind in American society. It's important to state, Las Vegas did not create America's affordability crisis. It's just a symptom. At the national level, soaring housing costs, escalating healthcare and tuition fees, and precarious employment have made even a weekend getaway a luxury for many families. According to a 2024 Federal Reserve report, nearly 40% of Americans say they would not be able to handle a $400 emergency. In that context, Vegas, with its promise of living large for a few days, became an economic challenge rather than an escape. The city's business model has long relied on an illusion: escaping reality on weekends. People come to Vegas to temporarily forget about their bills, work, and the usual feeling of fatigue. But when the cost of that illusion exceeds the actual value it brings, the magic fades. The experience is no longer worth the money, and the dream of the city that never sleeps has turned into a harsh cost problem. In that picture, a trend is easily visible: blaming the consumer. The media says young people spend less, that international tourists are no longer coming as before. Those explanations are convenient because they avoid difficult questions. Why hasn't real wage growth kept pace with inflation? Why is household debt at a record high? And why do cities prioritize short-term quarterly goals over sustainable customer satisfaction? Technology further clarifies the cracks. As sports betting and online games become readily available on mobile phones, the need to fly to bet has significantly decreased. Technology's success is not only due to convenience, but also because traditional destinations no longer offer superior value. If the Vegas experience is expensive and overwhelming, many people will choose the screen at home over plane tickets and hotels. Management lessons are also clearly evident. When businesses optimize each quarterly report instead of long-term trust, the product becomes a cash machine, and the community becomes an invisible backdrop. Vegas is a mirror reflecting the entire United States. Glamorous on the surface, but with a fragile and precarious working class underneath. These instabilities are not unique to one city, but are a microcosm of the entire economy. The solution cannot simply be building more resorts or upgrading betting technology. The more sustainable path lies in restoring the value of the real experience, transparency, kindness, and value for money. A lesson to be learned is how Southwest Airlines reaffirmed its transparency philosophy. Transparent fares, no hidden baggage fees, and a commitment to fairness with passengers. This philosophy has helped the company maintain customer loyalty in an industry known for its high costs. Vegas, and many other cities, may need a similar approach, restoring transparency and fairness to the visitor experience. If affordable illusions were once the glue that held society together, what do we replace them with when the costs have exceeded the threshold? And is the economy meant to serve people, or are people being forced to serve short-term precious goals? Two parallel frames are appearing before our eyes. On one side is a Las Vegas that continues to rely on fee upon fee, where every glass of water, parking space, and smallest service is burdened with numbers beyond expectation. On the other side is a Las Vegas that could be different, transparent, affordable, and in touch with its roots, putting people at the center. The question is, which path will this city choose? In the first scenario, Vegas continues to slide down. Room prices and surcharges are skyrocketing. Workers are exhausted from working multiple shifts, but their income is gradually decreasing, and tourists are starting to turn away. As their trust eroded, a dangerous cycle emerged. Guests left the Strip, seeking other domestic or international destinations. And then, the neon lights will still be there, but the hospitable spirit of Vegas will become more fragile than ever. In the second scenario, there could be a soft landing. Vegas chose to be transparent about pricing, eliminate unreasonable fees, and put hospitality, once a core competitive advantage, back at the center. Instead of selling a big living illusion, the city could sell a more breathable vacation. Cool, safe, with no unexpected fees, and above all, people are treated kindly. This is not just a change in business strategy, but also a repositioning of value. A sign that the opportunity for change still exists is that the demand for travel in the United States has not disappeared. According to the US Travel Association, domestic travel spending in 2024 will exceed $0.2 trillion, a 4% increase from the previous year. In other words, Americans still want to travel and are still willing to spend. They are just becoming increasingly sensitive to the true value compared to the cost. When Vegas is no longer convincing, this money will flow to other destinations. The question is, how do we retain customers in an increasingly competitive world? One answer lies within the internal structure itself. Encouraging healthy competition in pricing and services in the area outside the Strip could create reverse pressure, forcing the big players on the Strip to adjust. At the same time, rebuilding Vegas's optimization machine is essential, placing customer satisfaction and return rates on par with quarterly revenue. Employee rewards, instead of being solely tied to profits, should be linked to the positive experiences they provide. Vegas can't turn its back on the world either. In a context where international tourism is increasingly sensitive to price and safety perceptions, a Vegas that simplifies procedures, is transparent about costs, and treats people fairly could truly become a gateway to America. At that point, international tourists won't just come once to say they've been, but will have a reason to return. And above all, no change is sustainable without the labor community, the people who are silently running this city. Investing in stable working hours, skills training, and minimum benefits not only protects them, but also strengthens the very foundation of the tourism industry. A strong city is a city with a strong community. A relatable example to consider is how Costco has built customer trust through its no hidden fees policy and fair wages for employees. This model demonstrates that transparency and investment in people can foster lasting loyalty, far surpassing short-term profit maximization strategies. Do you want a dazzling but hollow Vegas, or a Vegas that's just warm enough to make you want to return? And if Vegas is the test, will America choose short-term optimization or long-term belief? Las Vegas was once a place where people went to escape reality, to believe that in just one weekend they could live a miniature American dream. But today, as the neon lights still blaze while the streets below gradually empty, the question is no longer exclusive to Vegas. It's for all of America. Can an economy built on luxury experiences still hold the people's trust? Because Vegas is not just a city of gambling and shows. It's a mirror reflecting larger cracks, from rising living costs and job insecurity to concerns that future generations may not have the same opportunities for an easy life as their ancestors. So, if even a place that once promised everyone is welcome now only serves a select few, what will happen to other communities across America? And can America regain long-term trust? Or will it continue to slide down the slope of short-term optimization? If you've ever witnessed the transformation of Las Vegas, or seen a shadow of this story in your own city, please share your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next stories, where we'll explore together the silent shifts reshaping America's future. The content in this video is compiled from publicly available news sources, reports, and surveys with the aim of social analysis, exploration, and reflection. All information is presented in a general and neutral manner, with no intention of attributing blame or criticizing any individual, organization, or government. Viewers are encouraged to consult additional reputable sources for a more comprehensive perspective.